One take, no whammies. Let's do this thing. With all the awkward pauses and silences thrown into the mix, just for the fun of it. But yes, welcome to whatever this is, whatever this will be. My name is Timothy. I'm sure I will explain much about myself as time goes on. But this is sort of a attempt at documenting my thoughts during this period of my life, of practicing vlogging. I've tried thought capturing in various forms, audio, written journals, other formats. None of them have ever quite stuck as the one thing, so I'm trying to do a little bit of them all. Starting with vlogging. I think I want to practice getting my thoughts out of my head. I am definitely one to think a lot, as I've been told, and as I think to myself, I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, and oftentimes I find it is good to get the thoughts out of my head and into the world, either on a piece of paper, just for the world to see. And I think I just kind of wanted to externally process, my thoughts, the things I think about, my opinions, and also kind of practice my frame of mind, my thought processes. I want to get a little more confident in how I speak, learn my gestures, any filler words, and that can really only be done through visually documenting things. I'm my intentions for these vlogs and the blog, the Substack I have currently, which we'll see how that goes, and just this whole kind of universe of vlogging is to be to use as little formatting or as little polish as possible. I want this to be a kind of sincere and authentic, or as authentic as one can be, kind of reflection of my thoughts, uh, my sincere opinions, my faults, all that, with no sort of uh, consideration or minimal consideration for an external perspective of what an audience or what someone else might think. Again, this is a very raw. I intend for this to be a very raw kind of conversation with a friend. I would say. Maybe that's being a little too vulnerable for whoever might see this. I doubt this will get beyond my friends and my family and people who care about me. But if it does, my intention and my hope is that it is somewhat beneficial, either for a moment of someone's life or a lifetime or whatever the case might be. Just documenting the process of thinking, of reflecting, of creating meaning out of one's experiences, as I'm trying to do. I have some notes as well. It's some minimal notes to try and scaffold my thoughts. This is a space to concentrate my thoughts, my experiences, my pinings on the world, which can include anything from culture to politics to my time here in Paraguay. I am a Peace Corps volunteer, which I will explain in a whole other slew of vlogs and blog postings and articles, I'm sure. But so it's kind of a grab bag of anything and everything. Anything that kind of sparks interest in me and that I feel is worth documenting or creating a resource for. That is all to say that all these thoughts are my own and no one else's. They are not a representation of the people I work for, the country I'm in, the people I associate with. These are all machinations of my own mind and my mind alone, as potentially faulted and unfinished as they might be, or as they might come off as. And what to kind of expect of this. I'm really open to whatever this might be. Is that, the posting schedule? Who knows? The quality? Hopefully, the quality improves. How so? I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully, I get a little more concise with my thoughts. Hopefully, whatever the case may be, I try to use good grammar. I try to be as correct as possible. And when I'm not, I try to say as much and admit my faults and my shortcomings. But again, I want this to be an open and honest kind of reflection on my life and my thoughts and my experiences. And I hope, however, that kind of shows up in the quality, that it does improve over time in whatever sense that makes sense. So again, I hope to do some sort of posting at least once a week. I think that should be pretty manageable. Again, I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things. I am really excited personally to give myself this space to create. I think I've been feeling this internal upswell of want to create versus consume, which I think is a whole other vlog. I think it deserves its own separate thing in the culture we find ourselves in, with consumption versus creation, and what does that mean in the grand scheme of things, both individually and on a communal level. But I am really excited to just give myself this space to think and kind of in a free-flowing, unregimented, unstructured format, to make some sense of things, to maybe try and create some greater philosophy of the world. I'm a young adult. I'm 24. I think this is about the time one starts to develop greater schemas, I guess, on how the world works and one's place in it and what matters, to put it so generally. And I've never been good at sports. I have bad eyes. I have bad feet. And so if I can't create in that sense, then maybe at the very least I can create by shouting my voice into the void. Because that's what the world needs, is another guy's opinion about things, right? But my opinion is usually well thought out. I would like to think I'm usually pretty intentional with the things I think and how I get to the places I get to in my thoughts. I definitely put a lot of importance on that sort of thing. And yeah, so I think with that, I'm really excited for this. I'm excited for whatever this turns into be, if anything. Hopefully, it's something I get to stick to. And I think I'm just gonna share a lot about my personal thoughts, my reflections on any media I've consumed. And I want to be more intentional on not just consuming, but reflecting on that consumption of books or movies or articles or things, happenings of the day. I definitely am going to do a part on my experience here in Paraguay. Of course, get that out of the way, and then just mainly talk about my thoughts and my philosophizings. And it's going to be kind of rough the first few of these as I get into the zone of talking to a camera, talking to no one. Working all the kinks and the audio. Some things I can't fix, like the audio quality. I'm sure I'm going to lose some vlogs to bad mics and forgetting to turn them on and all that fun stuff. But I definitely have the jitters of talking and the kind of vulnerability of this. But I think that kind of creative tension is a sense that this is a field that I should be moving myself into, or trying at the very least. Right, but just the discomfort is a sign of where we should grow. I like to think. And so with that, I think I'm kind of out of my notes for this first little test vlog, we should say. And yeah, I got like 5 more of these lined up and ready to go. again, got a lot of thoughts, a lot of things to say. So if this is of interest to anyone, then all the better. And if anyone has any thoughts to share with me, then feel free. We're all just orbiting around space. So I'm curious to hear other people's thoughts on my thoughts. With that, I think that's it. That's all. So until the next one, ciao, ciao.